All right, youngsters, we are getting knee deep into some trigonometry. So we're looking at the very famous SOHCAHTOA acronym. And this is nothing more than dealing with the relationship between an angle. And so in this particular angle, it is angle A. And in reference to this angle, we have its opposite side, which is 13, its side length. So this has nothing to do with an angle. And then 84, which is its adjacent side, and then the hypotenuse, which is opposite of the right angle. And so that's where this acronym comes from. The sine of the angle, whatever we're told, A or B, is equal to the ratio of that opposite side length, 13, and the hypotenuse length, 85. Reduce if you can. Pretty tough stuff, people. And then we have tangent, which is TOA, opposite over adjacent. So we have to look at what angle are we talking about. It is angle A, and so its opposite side is 13. Its adjacent side is 84. I can't reduce, and we are done. And then cosine of an angle is equal to the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. Adjacent, and see, now we're looking at angle B. So if we were looking at A, this would be the opposite side, but we're not. We're looking at B. It's adjacent over hypotenuse. We can't reduce. So that's the basis of everything that we're looking at in trigonometry. Pretty easy stuff here, people. Now we're actually going to be figuring out things. So the hard part about here is like, which trigonometric function do I use? Is it tangent? Is it cosine? Or is it sine? I don't know. We have to look at what we are given. So we're looking at this particular angle. This is the opposite side. This is the adjacent side to this angle. What uses opposite over adjacent? TOA. OA. There we go. That way I know I'm using tangent of 35 is equal to, I don't know, opposite over adjacent 28. We simply multiply this and then we plug it into our handy dandy calculator. So be sure that your calculator is in degree mode. So all you have to do is hit the mode button, and then you go down to the third line. It says radian or degree. You simply highlight degree, hit enter, and then to get back to your home screen, you simply hit second and that same mode button. If you look above it, it says quit. Next, we're doing the same thing here. We're going back to just writing the ratios, but here, reduce if you can. So same thing, SOHCAHTOA, opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, and opposite over adjacent. As you can see, color coordinated. Here, you will have to reduce a little bit. Pretty tough stuff. So we still have opposite over hypotenuse, but you can see the 3 goes into the 12 4 times. And then we have 9 over 12. 3 goes into that 3 and 4 times, and so on. Here we are here. We have to decide which trigonometric function that we use. I have opposite over hypotenuse. That is so. That's why I'm using sine here. Then we have sine of 32 is equal to that. I multiply by 28, and I round to the whole number. More of the same here. What do I use? I have adjacent and hypotenuse, so I'm using cosine. Cosine of 32 equal to the adjacent over hypotenuse, multiply both sides by 280, and round appropriately. Here we go. I have opposite over adjacent, TOA. That's why I'm using tangent. Multiply both sides by 27 and round appropriately. Here we have opposite over hypotenuse, so I'm using sine. The big thing here is that we're not multiplying by that 18. Children, even though I'm telling you this, you'll still miss it. You'll just pop in and say, whatever, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just going to multiply 18 by sine of 32 and get my number. Nope, not going to happen. So we need to divide here. So 18 divided by sine of 32 and round appropriately. Next up, what do we have? Opposite over hypotenuse. So I'm using sine. The first thing that's different here is we don't know what the angle is. So in order to find that out, we have to use sine to the negative first power. In order to do this, you simply hit the second button and the same sine button you've been popping all section long. Then in your calculator, you actually see sine to the negative first power. You simply put in the ratio of the opposite and hypotenuse and round appropriately. We're going to continue this process. So opposite adjacent, TOA using tangent. And then since I'm looking for the angle, I need to use the tangent to the negative first power of that same ratio, round appropriately. And here I have adjacent, hypotenuse, ka. So I'm using cosine. I am looking for the angle, so I need to hit second cosine to get that negative first power and round appropriately. Doing it, let's do that one more time. So I have opposite hypotenuse, so I'm using sine. I am finding the angle, therefore I'm using sine to the negative first power of that ratio, round appropriately. And then we're looking at inverse functions of secant, cosecant, and cotangent, which is simply the inverses, as you can see here. It's asking me about secant, which is the inverse of cosine. So all I do is simply invert. Instead of adjacent over hypotenuse, it is hypotenuse over adjacent, and reduce.